The polished marble floors of the grand foyer gleamed under the soft glow of the antique chandeliers as Tara, a young maid, moved with practiced grace. Her black uniform, crisp and starched, was a stark contrast to the subtle anxiety that fluttered within her. Today was the day she would serve the prestigious Lord and Lady Harrington, a task that both thrilled and terrified her. The Harrington estate, known as Blackwood Manor, was a labyrinth of opulent rooms, each demanding meticulous attention. From the moment she had arrived, Tara had been captivated by its grandeur, a stark difference from her humble village life. She had been trained by Mrs. Gable, the head housekeeper, a woman whose stern demeanor hid a kind heart and a wealth of knowledge about the intricacies of high society. Tara's first task was to prepare the breakfast room. She carefully polished each silver utensil, arranging them perfectly beside the delicate porcelain plates. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted from the kitchen, mingling with the scent of blooming roses from the garden outside. As she worked, Tara couldn't help but overhear hushed conversations from the staff, tales of the Harringtons' vast wealth, their travels, and their legendary parties. She imagined herself attending one of these grand events, not as a servant, but as a guest, adorned in a beautiful gown, dancing in the ballroom. A small smile touched her lips, a fleeting moment of fantasy before she returned to her duties.
The morning passed quickly, a blur of polishing, dusting, and arranging. Each task, no matter how small, was performed with precision and dedication. Tara knew that every detail mattered. Every speck of dust, every misplaced napkin could be a blemish on the manor's impeccable reputation. She took pride in her work, finding satisfaction in transforming cluttered spaces into pristine sanctuaries. As the sun began to climb higher, casting warm rays through the tall windows, Tara felt a sense of accomplishment. The breakfast room was ready, the silverware gleaming, the tablecloth pristine, and the flowers arranged just so. She took a moment to admire her work, a quiet satisfaction settling over her. However, a sudden thought brought a frown to her face. She remembered Mrs. Gable's strict instructions about the antique pocket watch Lord Harrington always kept on his bedside table. It was a family heirloom, passed down through generations, and she was to ensure it was always in its proper place. A jolt of panic shot through her as she recalled seeing it earlier that morning, but not recalling if she had placed it back. This was her first major assignment, and a mistake like this could cost her everything. With a deep breath, Tara resolved to double-check, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. She had to ensure everything was perfect. The thought of disappointing Mrs. Gable, and more importantly the Harringtons, spurred her on. She quickly but carefully made her way through the hushed corridors, past ornate tapestries and towering bookshelves, her footsteps barely audible on the plush carpets. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her, yet she remained focused. This was more than just a job. It was an opportunity, a chance to prove herself worthy of a place in this grand world, even if only as a maid. She knew that every challenge she faced, every meticulous task she completed, was a step towards a better future, a future she was determined to build for herself within the walls of Blackwood Manor. Tara's heart pounded as she stood in the magnificent ballroom, the grand chandeliers sparkling above, reflecting the geometric pattern of the polished floor. It was here, amidst the silent echoes of countless elegant dances, that she held Lord Harrington's antique pocket watch in her hand. Her relief at finding it was immense, but it was quickly replaced by a wave of anxiety. She had found it tucked away, not on the bedside table as instructed, but beneath a stack of letters on his desk in the study. She knew she should return it immediately, but a strange compulsion made her pause. The watch was exquisite, a miniature work of art with intricate engravings and a tiny, delicate chain. It felt heavy in her palm, not just with its material weight, but with the weight of generations of history it represented. As she turned the watch over, her thumb brushed against a barely visible inscription on the back. It was in a script she didn't recognize, and she wished she had more time to decipher it. The ballroom, usually bustling with activity during preparations, was eerily quiet at this hour, allowing her to be completely alone with her thoughts and the rediscovered heirloom. She imagined the stories this watch could tell, the hands it had passed through, the moments it had witnessed. It felt like a tiny portal to the past, connecting her, however briefly, to the illustrious history of Blackwood Manor and the family she served. The air around her seemed to hum with unspoken narratives, a tapestry woven from the lives lived within these grand walls. A small sigh escaped her lips as she carefully placed the watch on a nearby table, next to a ledger and a pile of pristine white gloves that were being prepared for the evening's gathering. She knew she had to report its finding to Mrs. Gable and then return it to its rightful place. But for a fleeting moment, she allowed herself to imagine what it must be like to own such a treasure, to inherit something so rich in history and sentiment. It was a stark reminder of the divide between her world and that of the Harringtons, a chasm she could only observe from a distance, never truly cross. Yet, holding the watch, she felt a peculiar connection, a brief overlap of their disparate lives. Her moment of contemplation was broken by the distant sound of Mrs. Gable's voice, calling out instructions to other staff members. Tara quickly gathered herself, her professional demeanor returning. The allure of the watch and its hidden stories had to be set aside. Her duty came first. She picked up the watch once more, its coolness a stark contrast to the warmth of her hand, and began to make her way out of the ballroom, resolved to fulfill her responsibilities. The incident, though minor, had left a lasting impression, a subtle stirring of curiosity about the secrets that lay hidden within the manor's grand facade, and a deeper understanding of the precious items she was entrusted to care for. Each object in Blackwood Manor, she realized, held a narrative, a whisper of the past, waiting to be heard by those who truly listened.